What if I told you that one of the most powerful religious stories ever told was hidden inside an animated movie you may have watched as a child? A story not about magic, not about fantasy, but about identity, freedom, suffering, and divine purpose. The Prince of Egypt is not just a movie. It is inspired by one of the most sacred stories in Judaism, the story of Moses, Exodus, and the birth of the people who would shape moral law for the world. This is not just a tale of slaves and kings. This is the story of Judaism's spiritual foundation. And today, we go deeper. What is Judaism before the movie? Judaism is one of the oldest monotheistic religions in the world. Its core belief is simple, yet revolutionary. There is one God, eternal, invisible, moral, and just. This God is not human, not born, not divided, not represented by idols. In Judaism, God is known as YHWH, a name so sacred it is rarely spoken. Judaism teaches moral law, justice, responsibility, covenant between God and humanity, and the Prince of Egypt is inspired by the moment this covenant becomes history. The Prince of Egypt, what the movie represents, the movie is inspired by the book of Exodus, part of the Torah, Judaism's most sacred scripture. It tells the story of slavery, oppression, divine justice, liberation, but at its core, the movie asks a deeper question. Who are you? When you discover the truth about yourself, Moses, identity, and spiritual awakening. Moses is born a Hebrew slave, but raised as an Egyptian prince. This is not just a plot device. In Judaism, this represents inner exile. Moses lives in comfort, yet something inside him feels wrong. Judaism teaches that a person may live in luxury but still be spiritually enslaved. When Moses learns the truth of his birth, his world collapses. This moment mirrors a core Jewish idea. Truth disrupts comfort but leads to freedom. The burning bush, God without a form. One of the most important scenes in the movie is the burning bush. This is crucial in Judaism. God does not appear as a human, a statue, a creature. Instead, God speaks through fire that does not consume. Symbolically, fire equals divine presence, not consuming equals eternal. Non-physical God. Judaism rejects idol worship completely. God is beyond form, beyond image, beyond human limitation. The movie respectfully keeps this mystery intact. Let my people go. More than freedom. This line is not about politics. In Judaism, freedom is not just physical. True freedom means freedom from oppression, freedom from injustice, freedom to live by moral law. Judaism teaches a free society must be a moral society. That is why Moses is not just a liberator, he is a lawgiver. Pharaoh represents absolute power, ego control, human authority without morality. Judaism directly challenges this idea. No king is above justice. No ruler is above God. No empire lasts forever. The plagues in the story are not revenge. They are moral consequences. Judaism teaches when power ignores justice, collapse is inevitable. The Red Sea, faith before proof. The sea does not part until the people step forward. This is one of the most powerful Jewish teachings. Faith is action before certainty. The movie shows fear, doubt, hesitation realistically. Judaism does not glorify blind belief. It honors courageous trust. Freedom requires risk. Spiritual and psychological meaning. From a psychological perspective, Egypt represents bondage to fear and ego. Moses represents awakening identity. Exodus represents transformation. Judaism is not just ritual, it is ethical psychology. It teaches self-discipline, responsibility, and justice. Why this movie still moves people? Because it speaks to universal struggles, feeling trapped, searching for purpose, standing against injustice, choosing truth over comfort. The Prince of Egypt succeeds because it respects the spiritual gravity of Judaism. It does not mock, it does not simplify, it does not sensationalize, it honors. Freedom in Judaism does not end at the Red Sea. This is one of the most misunderstood parts of the story. Judaism teaches something radical. Freedom without moral law becomes chaos. After liberation, the Israelites do not become lawless wanderers. They are guided toward Mount Sinai, where Judaism's ethical foundation is formed. This moment is not about control, it is about responsibility. The Ten Commandments, not rules, but principles. The Ten Commandments are not merely religious instructions. In Judaism, they are seen as universal moral pillars. They address human behavior, social justice, inner discipline, respect for life, truth, and dignity. Key insight. Judaism does not say obey because God demands it. It says, live this way because this is how a just society survives. This is why the commandments include, do not murder, do not steal, do not bear false witness. These are not mystical ideas. They are civilizational foundations. The covenant of partnership, not fear. Judaism, introduces a unique spiritual idea. Covenant. God does not dominate humanity. God partners with humanity. The covenant means God commits to guiding humanity. Humans commit to ethical living. This is not blind submission. It is mutual responsibility. Judaism teaches God believes in human potential. That is why questioning, debate, and study are encouraged in Jewish tradition. Faith is not silence. Faith is engagement. Judaism and the psychology of discipline. From a psychological perspective, Jewish law functions like behavioral structure, ethical training, long-term self-regulation. Judaism understands something modern science confirms. Unrestricted desire leads to suffering. Laws are not meant to suppress life. They are meant to protect meaning. Judaism in modern society, where do we stand today? Now let us bring this ancient wisdom into the present. Modern society celebrates freedom, individual choice expression, but often ignores responsibility, consequences, moral accountability. Judaism would ask modern humanity a hard question. If everyone does whatever they want, who protects justice? In a world of consumerism, power, imbalance, digital manipulation, Jewish ethics emphasize truth over convenience, justice over popularity, duty over ego. Slavery then versus slavery now. In Exodus, slavery was physical. Today, slavery is often psychological, economic, addictive. Digital Judaism's message remains relevant. Freedom begins in the mind, but survives through discipline. The same way Egypt enslaved bodies, modern systems can enslave attention, identity, and values. Why the Prince of Egypt still matters today. The movie resonates because it speaks about moral courage. It shows leadership without ego. It respects spiritual depth. It does not glorify Moses as perfect. It shows him as human, afraid, conflicted, growing. That is deeply Jewish. Judaism does not worship heroes. It honors ethical struggle. Judaism teaches us something timeless. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. Freedom is choosing what is right, even when it is difficult. Faith is not blind belief. Faith is living responsibly in a broken world. God is not distant. God is present in justice, truth, and compassion. The Prince of Egypt reminds us, through symbolism and inspiration, that every generation faces its own Egypt, and every generation must choose comfort, or conscience power, or justice silence, or truth. The question remains the same. Will we walk toward freedom, even when the path is uncertain?